So welcome back and to our second panel on health policy, medical technology, and biotechnology. My name is Karen Eggleston, and I am with the Asia Pacific Research Center, a health economist that directs our Asia Health Policy Program. I invite our three panelists to please come up on stage now, and I will introduce each of them. We're going to, like the previous panel, we'll have presentations from each of our distinguished speakers, and then we will have some discussion among ourselves, and then we'll open up to questions. So please be thinking about what questions you would like to ask our distinguished panelists. So I wanted to mention, in terms of health policy, as a health economist that studies comparative health systems, Taiwan is well on the map. Just so that you know, in my field, it's well known as a single-payer health system, combining traditional and very modern healthcare systems, dealing with all of those issues, also population aging and so on. And so it comes up frequently in International Health Economics Association discussions and elsewhere. And I have the privilege of working with many colleagues there. And we're going to be talking in this panel about many of the issues related to technology and health policy in Taiwan, but of course more broadly in the region, since many of the players in Taiwan are regionally and globally active in this space. So I'm going to introduce each of them in the order that they'll give their first presentations. Mr. Ted Chang is a highly accomplished Chief Technology Officer, Vice President, and General Manager of Quanta Computer, which is the world's largest ODM and laptop computer maker, in case you didn't know. He has more than 20 years of experience in leading global corporations and has been instrumental in driving corporate technology strategy. We'll also be hearing he's overseeing the Quanta Research Institute for Advanced Research. And part of that is dedicated to the integration of AI and other technologies in the transformation in fields of healthcare, medicine, and others like agriculture. So we'll be hearing about that. Also, Dr. Chang has been appointed as representative of Taiwan for the Business Advisory Council of the Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. So we'll hear about that since 2019. Also, we're delighted to have Bobby Sheng, who is chairman and CEO of Bora Pharmaceuticals, the largest pharmaceutical manufacturing company in Taiwan. The company operates across the globe in many different areas, Taiwan and North America. He himself was raised here in California, has educational foundation across the bay at our colleague university, Berkeley, and he's launched career entrepreneurial in many different areas that we'll be hearing about today, ranging from consumer health, technology, media, private equity, and so on. So the Bora's business model, which encompasses CDMO and commercial RX business, has earned several prestigious awards we may hear more about today, including the Most Innovative Company of the Year. And finally, you've heard in a question from earlier, we're joined by my fellow faculty member, Dr. Jason Wang, who is Professor of Pediatrics and Health Policy here at Stanford and Director of the Center for Policy Outcomes and Prevention. He has degrees from many different universities across the country. He worked with McKinsey and Company, did his residency as a physician and pediatrician at UCSF. And notably, in year 2000, he was recruited to serve as project manager for the task force on reforming Taiwan's national health insurance system. He has deep expertise in that area. And as a matter of fact, in addition to his many academic awards, he is also an entrepreneur. So we'll be hearing about that experience in today's panel. So with that, please join me in welcoming our panelists. And we hope that you will enjoy the discussion. Please be thinking about your questions as we hear from each of them in turn. So would you like to give your first presentation?
Thank you, Karen, and good morning. I was supposed to say good afternoon or good evening, but I just landed yesterday, and this is such a great honor and privilege to speak with the great panelists here. And I'm sorry that I lost my voice in my last trip to Hong Kong. I spoke too much, so you have to forgive my smoky voice. And as you know, that I'm more like a researcher than engineer, and more engineer than a businessman. But right now, I have to take care of both the Quanta Research Institute for research and also a business unit called Business Unit 12 for the smart medicine and healthcare business. I'm also a visiting professor in National Taiwan University, Chang University, and Jiao Tong University, and also a chair professor in the Asia University. And so I'll try to go through some slides to allow people understand our journey from a computer maker to move into the medical and smart medicine area. So my topic is simply how can we reinventing healthcare, and also try to let people understand the transformative power of AI. And so the first thing of everything is, of course, Quanta Computer. We are, by name, is a computer company, but we don't make quantum computer now. Although that name is Quanta. And so Quanta is a Fortune 500 company. And when we talk about AI, the first thing is that computer is not AI, but without computer, there is no AI. So we're still making computer. We are still try to integrate all the chips that TSMC manufacture into computer. So TSMC's role is to, to put the IC design efforts into chips. Quanta's efforts is to integrate chips into computer and to support all the major brands globally. Quanta is not only a contract manufacturer. Actually, in some sense, we outsource the brand to other companies because we take over most of the research, development, and also system integrations. So you can see that every 10 years, Quanta define our vision. So the vision we first set back in year 1988 was PC will be mobile. Nowadays, it seems to be very funny, but 36 years ago, the only a personal PC we can get is all desktop. So the company was funded based on the belief that PC should be mobile, should be carried by a human being. You shouldn't go to the desktop for computing. You should carry computing anywhere you like. And so we became world number one in the year 1999. At that year, in year 2000, every 1 out of 5 laptops is made by Quanta. So I joined Quanta in year 2000, and I have to confess to the founder chairman that I have no idea about laptop. I majored in aerospace engineering, and laptop cannot fly, it cannot move, and I really don't have any interest in laptop. And he said, don't worry, because in the future, there will be no book. Because he believed that, after several changes, maybe people don't want to use the laptop anymore. Just like right now, everybody carry a handheld, a phone with you. So he started to think about the future. So the next vision we set for Quanta is about PC will be virtual. Because of mobile internet, every laptop will connect to the huge power, computing power inside the internet. So we believe that the future computing world will further virtualize, which means that the computing device you carry will become thinner than ever. So that's the reason why in year 2000 we started to do everything inside the cloud, and everything people can handheld. And so that we became world number one in cloud computing. But at that time, there is no cloud computing such buzzwords. Technology always come before it became buzzword. And currently, we are providing huge amount of servers and to the major cloud service providers like Google, Facebook, and Amazon. For B2B business, Quanta do have the brand. And we ship servers to power their cloud services at rack base. It's not a box, it's a rack. So every rack have many layers and many servers. And so because more and more people use our servers to do something. And you can see that people use it to process the big data analytics. And when the data is bigger, then people can compute or understand. People try to develop, the machine learning to do AI. But at that time, we call it, big data analytics and machine learning. And after that, all the stories that people believe that the neural networks come back, and we started to use, the GPU to compute, to process the next generation AI models. Then AI is there. So currently, Quanta is #1 in laptop, in cloud server, in GPU server, and also rumor says that we are also the #1 in the car computer. So rumor says that the car computer used in Waymo for Google and also in Tesla are all made in Quanta. And so that's Quanta. So you can see that we started from the personal mobile computing, and you can see the green one. Green one is called One Laptop Per Child projects, because Professor Nicola Ponte, who was the founder of Media Lab at MIT, he came to me that Quanta cannot always make computer for the well-established company. You should try to do something to support the education of the third world. So we make the Shrek-like computer and to help them. And also we help Google to build the first Chromebook. Again, it's my projects. They came to us that we try to build a new operating system to support the world, then we make it happen. And later that we have more and more business on the servers. Every server needs to be optimized and tailor-made for different kind of jobs. Cloud optimized for cloud computing, optimized for Google search, for Netflix, for Facebook. Actually, they are all different. And they need special support to make it happen. So design is actually, or innovation is actually the key core competency of Quanta. So only few people understand that in collaborative robot, Quanta is world #2 in collaborative robot. So sometimes in Asia, you see some robot arms, they're making cappuccino for you. Sometimes that might be from Quanta as well. And recently, my team is working on connected health. So we build more and more wearables, try to monitor your vital signs 24 hours a day, 7 days, maybe 14 days, and we try to capture all your, to monitor your vital sign in the order to give you some prediction or to do some preventative, medicine. And so that's something that we are bringing it to support the medical industry right now. And Quanta has been recognized as one of the top 100 innovators globally, and we receive many awards. And so we can see that back to health. What we are trying to do is that Quanta is very good at the cloud computing. For example, cloud computing is trying to enable computing as a service anytime, anywhere to anyone. But for healthcare, it's a little bit different. We try to bring the right care at the right time to the right people at the right location. So there is a gap between these two. So one of the things that we try to do is that we try to bridge these two gap and to enable new technologies for the future health. So these are the three technologies that few technology which are the key technology for the future health. One is cloud computing, the other is machine learning, and of course you need the IoT wearable to get all the data from the body, and through 5G or 6G to do the data transaction. Then you can do machine learning. You can come up with AI as a new services or new therapy. So based on that, you can see it's not just about, for the future, the digital health. It's not just about, algorithm. It's about how to enable a new ecosystems to enable AI as a new, new tool or new power for the future digital health. So you will need the infrastructure like cloud to provide you a more, a much hyper connectivity and also supercomputing and also storage for the massive data. And then on top of it, then you can process the data, secure the data, and to provision, machine learning as a new services. And once you come up with a new algorithm of AI, you put it in the SaaS, and then you have the new algorithm, and or you use the algorithm to develop new drugs as well. So that's something that we try to do. Of course, XR is another element there if you want to do digital twin or you want to do remote surgery, then you can do something from it. So the brand we created for the medical solutions is called Quokka. Basically, it stands for Quanta Cloud Care AI, but it sounds like Quokka. Quokka stands for, if you try to look it up in the Google search, and you type in the QUOKKA, then it stands for the happiness animal in the world. So one of the things that we try to do is very simple. On the right-hand side, it's about the technology. On the left-hand side, on the blue, it's all about what we need for future health, for more precision health, preventative, predictive health. And on the right-hand side, if you remember the technology I'm talking about, if you view human body as the source of big data, then you will need device to get the data out. You need to architect special cloud to store the data. And with that, that cloud, you can provide computing to do big data analytics. Then you come up with AI. Then you have to provision AI as a new service to the point of care at the edge. That's E. And you have to make sure that you can secure all the data transaction through A to E by G, by communications. And then that's real-time communications, but you also need to provide them security for data transaction. That basically we will use blockchain technology in fintech, that's F. So the way Quanta try to connect A to H, AI to health, is actually A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So that's very easy for people to understand. So based on that, we do a couple of things. We don't develop product, we develop platform. We develop a platform called AIM to convert data into AI. Then we try to connect hospital with hospital using a very advanced telemedicine systems. Then we connect people from home to the hospital. That's telehealth. Then we also build huge amount of medical devices around it. So you can see that this is the the diagram that based on the eyes, the PaaS, and also the SaaS. We build up the cloud, and we help people to develop their own AI based on the platform. And also we also build different kind of digital twin to simulate the organ and also people's behavior or function inside AI. So back to Quanta research. And you know that this year we're going to celebrate our 20th years collaborations with another great university in Cambridge area, but it's in the East Coast with MIT. So we started working, the collaboration with MIT since year 2000. We kicked off our first project in year 2005. Then we have 3 stages, and we moved to computational health. So we also, internally, we built Quanta Research Institute. We also built a new business unit. Because before BU 12, there is 11 BU. BU stands for business unit. Many times, subsidiaries and companies inside the companies. And all the BUs are very focused on hardware except BU 12. We have more software people than hardware people, in such a way that I can bring the innovation from the lab directly to the market. And so this is the, but by the way, the more titles you have, the more pay cut you have. If you carry 3, that means that your pay is nothing. So basically, we started with our first project called Tea Party, and it's focused on human-centered computing, then to cloud computing, and right now very focused on AI computing. So we have been doing, for example, we have been doing the autonomous car with MIT since maybe year 17 some years ago, and we have done the first the telemedicine ambulance cars for Children's Hospital in Boston area, together with MIT, with Harvard back in year 2009. In year 2009, there is no 3G, so we don't have enough bandwidth. So we use many phones bandwidth and merge it into a bigger pipe for communication. And so another thing that we are doing right now is all about generative AI. And for us, how to prompting, a system for the future is very important, because it's no longer about deep learning to do diagnosis. It's about how to use a new AI model and to generate more possibility for the future. But for generative AI, it's very important that it's not about the language. People talking about ChatGPT and other things. But there are many dialogue between different systems. Your body speak, but they cannot speak in Mandarin or English. They are speaking within their vital signs. And how to translate or understand the vital signs signal is very important. It's another language. So use generative AI, you'll be able to generate some therapy for the future. But the most important thing is, on the top box, there is V&V, how to verify and validate the result. So we try to use more, the medical records. We try to generate, digital twin for the future, which means that just like Boeing 777, you don't need to go through the real, hardware, and you can go through software simulations and get the precision therapy for your own self. And so another thing is that I'm also the Taiwan's representative for APAC Business Advisory Council. In the council, my role is more focused on, because I'm the only engineer of the committee, so they assigned me to do something related to technology. So I always in charge of emerging technology, AI health, or digital health. So one of the things that I found is that, there are 21 economies in APAC. And you can see that there are states, Canada, but there are also Papua New Guinea and also Brunei. So there is a huge, the digital divide from technology, from hardware infrastructure, but also from, talents, digital skill. So one of the things that I asked them, they told me that we don't care about the policy you are talking about, because that's none of our business. We don't understand. And so I tell them that if you view data as water, of course they don't want to give data out. So I told them that I'm willing to teach you how to do fishing. If you view fish as AI, then I would like to teach you how to do fishing rather than give you the fish. Everybody is happy with that. So I create a project called Do AI Yourself last year without coding, and open to over 50% female medical practitioners without any IT, the backgrounds. The only things they should know is that they should know the inside of the data. That's it. And within 1 week, we have 19 economies, joined, the training. And after 1 day, they all have their own AI models and take it back to test in their own country. And so Taiwanese government is very happy about that. And so our president, President Tsai, and also his representative, Chang, TSMC chairman, used this as Taiwan's statement for APEC last year in San Francisco. And so basically, that's something that we have to do last year. And so people expecting that we can do something more this year. And so this is this year's project. It's called Daily. Do AI locally yourself, using local data to create, AI on your own. And so this year, the host country is Peru. And Peru's chair came to me that we need these projects, but we need to transfer, we need to, focus more on people. We try to empower more digital workforce with AI. So we do that same pipeline again, but you can see that, you can see medical doctors here, and we put the data there. We create a no-code, we automate the machine learning process without doing any code. We come up with AI. So we try to enable, medical doctors with AI capabilities. And so this is our new projects. And currently, there are many hospitals from global area. They try to join this to attend. Since you all have the chance to see the details, if you are interested in that, you can join it. The only things that you have to know is that you can follow the process. Then you will understand how to do AI. Because we are not policy maker. We are product maker. And we try to let more people understand or have the real experience of AI in order to come up with a new policy to encourage more people to use AI. That's our purpose. And so this is my email address. I'm so sorry about the color. We are all engineers. We believe that the best way to predict the future is simply to invent it. So, and this is my my presentations. I'm looking forward to more interactions during Q&A section. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Great.
Can I go?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ted, for that wonderful talk. I'd like to thank Stanford and APARC for hosting this wonderful event. It's really interesting to see. As a Taiwanese American growing up in Southern California, going to school at a public municipal school down across the bay, it's amazing to see such well-known academic organization recognize Taiwan. It's really impressive. It's something that Taiwan's given me a lot since I've moved back to Taiwan, and so it's great to see that there's an event like this to showcase Taiwan to students and Americans. It's really amazing. Thank you. So we're talking about Taiwan health policy and biotech. I think today I'm going to talk at a very macro level. Taiwan has always been on the forefront of manufacturing. It's rich in its history. Ever since the beginning of what Taiwan went in the industrial age of textile manufacturing, chemicals, plastics, and for the last couple of decades now, ITC and now semiconductors. So as Taiwan looks forward in the future of what's next, sort of post-industrial society of Taiwan, biologics, biotech is one of the areas where the country is really investing a lot of money and a lot of focus on as sort of the next wave of where the industry is going in Taiwan. So today I'll speak a little about it. A little about Bora and my company. We are a company with two business models, two BUs, as Ted was speaking about BUs. We do global CDMO operations, which is basically contract development manufacturing, right? So this is something Taiwan's very, very good at. We develop anywhere from development size all the way to commercial. Okay, so if they want to start a product out of the lab, they bring it to us, and they bring it to us for clinical trial, or they call CMC, which allows them to go to commercial scale and be able to put the drug in patients. Okay, so that's what our specialty is in the contract development manufacturer side. We have large molecule and small molecules. So large molecules more biologics, and small molecules more chemistry. We have over 50 global pharma customers and biotech customers. We have 9 sites, 3 in North America, 6 in Taiwan, and we've grown 45% in the last 3 years. So it's pretty amazing growth for the company, and the industry is growing fast very well. So we've taken benefit of that. On our commercial U.S. Side, we have a commercial manufacturing, commercial sales, and research and development side. We have branded and generic drugs, so I'm sure most of you are familiar with branded or generic drugs. We are the largest supplier. I think we have some gray hairs here. So we're the largest supplier of potassium chloride in the United States. And I guess a lot of people go to have tests and exams. So we're the largest seller of it's a stomach acid reflux drug called Dexilent. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that. On the contract manufacturer side, we also are the largest manufacturer of Voltaren. I don't know if you guys have used Voltaren or Flonase. So we have pretty interesting key component drugs that we do produce in our sites. We have over 72 products, over 150 SKUs. We also have 22 products pending and approval, and 8 R&D drugs. And these two businesses have very synergistic value. On the commercial side, we have the scalability of the manufacturing base and the expertise of the manufacturing. On the manufacturer side, we gain the scale of all the drugs that we're manufacturing over on the commercial side, so that we can lower the cost basis for our manufacturing. So it's a very synergistic, symbiotic relationship. To know Bora, you can know about us by our numbers. Our market cap, we're publicly traded on the Taiwan Stock Exchange. We're $2.5 billion. We have, which relatively to Quanta is very small. The tech industry is very, very large. Okay, so we're a small speck in the.
We are small as well.
And we have 1,700 employees. We export to over 100 countries. We represent 26.1% of all the pharma exports going from Taiwan to the U.S. Last year, we did $450 million in top-line sales. We have over 100 products in CDMO in development and commercialization, and we're the largest pharma manufacturer in Taiwan. Here's a little bit of our global footprint. As you can see, our 6 sites are based out of Taiwan. A lot of it's oral solid dose, which is the most common used dosage form of drugs, and that's really where the basis of our contract manufacturing is out of. We also have ophthalmics, creams and ointments, and we have a biologics facility in Hsinchu as well, creating monoclonal antibodies, bispecific, trispecific, antibody drug conjugates of the like. And then in our Canadian facility, we do oral solid dose, and that's actually where we make the world's largest supply of Voltaren, as we said before. And then our recent acquisition in Plymouth and Maple Grove in Minnesota. So we are the largest manufacturer of drugs out of Minnesota now, and we distribute to over 30 countries from that facility as well. A little bit of our history and maybe where we're relevant in Taiwan. We're born in Taiwan. So we started the company. I started the company in 2008, and just organically and through some acquisitions, we've grown the company from 0 all the way to about $450 million. Very slowly, but methodically through organic growth and acquisitions as well. So let me talk about some of the current dynamics and opportunities. Like I said, I'll talk about it more macro scale, leave some time for you guys to ask questions. This is really about Taiwan and where Taiwan's going. You can read a lot of statistics. I didn't want to bore you with a lot of numbers here. So I talked about this at the BTC, which is an annual conference to talk about biotech. I think you really got to focus on 3 main things where the industry needs to go. First of all, we need to go global. It's very easy for Taiwan to think, we're an island. We have island fever sometimes. We just kind of figure our internal consumption is enough. 25 million is good. But we really need to think global markets. It's very, very expensive to develop drugs. And it is a global market. So if somebody else is developing drugs somewhere else, they can import it in Taiwan. So we really need to be competitive globally. I think a lot of our previous drug development and previous ventures into biologics were really focused on academia and develop of the science. We need to go global and understand how competitive the landscape is and really focus on the next generation of drugs to develop and also understand how large the global market is so we can really tap into that. We need to focus on growth through M&A. I think it's an amazing time for the industry to acquire and grow through M&A. I think M&A is one of the few tools you can buy time. And as we get older, we would love to buy time. So I think M&A, you can buy a lot of companies. You can buy technologies. You could buy speed. Okay, so these are the very important things. I think a lot of Taiwanese companies are afraid to do M&A. I think the cultural integration seems very daunting for them. I think the way we're growing up, I think somebody was talking about wearing a jacket because somebody told you it's cold, right? We listen to everybody, right? So you say do this and we do that exactly, and we don't think out of the box. So we need to really understand and grow through M&A, and acquisitions is a great way to do it. Finally, these are the 3 areas I think we should focus in. A lot of people are doing very next generation precision medicine, gene cell therapy. I think that is great and continue to advance on the academic side. I think as an industry, though, if we want to build the industry, we need base hits. We need some small successes. So we are focused on specialty drugs, orphan drugs. I think these are very easier to get registered. It takes about a year or 2. They're less costly, and they're filling a demand. Okay, so there's unmet needs for that. I think in Taiwan Taiwan's developed a last in line AIDS treatment. We've developed a adolescent pediatric seizure drug. And so it's a very small market, but I think they're really good base hits for Taiwan industry to continue to grow on. Obviously, medtech AI, definitely what Quanta is doing is the right direction. You got to lean into what we're strong on. Lean into the technology that we already have. Lean into the customers now that are all putting their foot into medtech devices, sensory devices, and combining those devices with artificial intelligence. It is a lot of talk going on with AI. It is cult-like in many ways. I think some of it's true, though. So we have to really lean into it as a tech company. I think Taiwan tries to shy away from it and says, what's next after tech? I think tech will always be around. It'll be a very important part of human health as we continue to grow, including on the robotics side as well. And finally, CDMO. I think we have a rich history in contract manufacturing. We have a high degree of trust from our partners around the world. And we do it really well. We understand it really well, especially the dynamics of the CapEx that we invest in, the service that we provide, and the transparency and the IP protection we provide in Taiwan. It's very important for these 3 things to focus on in the next 10 to 20 years. I also think we have an amazing time in the next 3 to 5 years for our industry to take advantage of what's currently going on in the market. And these are the 3 things that I think really matter to us. We are not supposed to talk too much about geopolitics, but I want to say there's a huge decoupling of the China-U.S. relations, especially now from high tech into biotech. Recently, there's a law being passed called Biosecure, which in summary is limiting the amount of investment activity and limiting the amount of activity in general for starting with academia to work with China-based, China government-funded biotech companies. Okay, and that is a start of a long length of things that I think the U.S. will do. A little bit of McCarthyism in there, but there's a list, and they go down that list, and there's companies they can't work with. A highlight of that recently, I just saw yesterday, WuXi AppTec, WuXi Pharma, Yaoming. They are the largest CDMO manufacturer in Asia. They're the 2nd largest in the world. They've decided to not attend BIO, which is the biggest conference for biotechs in the world, and they decided not to attend. It's in San Diego. Okay, so there's something happening there. But it's a great time for Taiwan. Okay, so there's a lot of companies that are coming to us now and saying they want to move their production from their facilities within China to Taiwan. There's a lot of great opportunities. China was a low-cost provider, so now they're not as competitive in the market anymore. This is an amazing time for Taiwanese companies to take advantage of that decoupling and work with a lot of U.S. companies and U.S. partners. We're seeing a huge influx of customers and partnership demands for that. The economy with the high interest and with the I would say the uncertainty of where the U.S. economy is going. Now the U.S. economy and the U.S. capital markets is the largest funder of biotech development. Okay, and in 2023 there were only 8 biotech IPOs as opposed to 30-some in the years before. So what does that mean? Biotech in the U.S. is slowing down. However, in Taiwan, there's a huge influx of capital going into biotechs. So this is a great time for us to speed past all the developments that is happening in other countries that were highly, highly well-funded before. Finally, we have strong capital markets and support for the government. I've convinced 2 or 3 companies now and sponsoring 2 companies to, instead of going public and getting their funding from the US, they're coming to Taiwan to do a listing. This is a very, very interesting way, I think, to bring technology and bring highly capable resources to Taiwan. Okay, so there's the golden visa, there's all these things that the government's trying to do. I personally think we can just attract them with capital, and we are attracting them. Okay, I think Carolyn Bertozzi, which is a professor here at Stanford, Nobel laureate, one of her companies was going to list on the NASDAQ, has come to Taiwan and is listed in Taiwan. It's amazing chemistry, antibody cell conjugate, which is an amazing new technology, I think has a lot of promise. So that's one of the multiple companies that are bringing their technologies and their resources to Taiwan. So this is an amazing time. I think it will last only a couple of years, so we need to really, really take advantage of it. Finally, we're here to talk about some challenges as well. These are 3 main challenges, I think, for biotech. Obviously is the geopolitical cross-strait tension that exists. I think we spend an enormous amount of time as a company trying to educate our customers, educate our partners on what's going on in Taiwan. I think there was a time there where every single partner would call us up and say, when are you moving to the US? When is this company moving to the US? You know, there's missiles coming across, and you have to constantly be educating your customers, constantly educating your staff. Okay, they are very concerned. They need to know, tell their family what company they're working for, and you just have to accept it. You have to be very, very diligent about it, and constantly, for our national sales meeting and our retreat, I hired 2 professors from Taida to come and speak about the geopolitical issues and the percentages of Taiwan going to war with China. It is ridiculous, but that's the challenge that we face today. Also, finally, in hiring staff. As we become a global company, we are hiring staff from Europe, United States, all over the world. Their main concern for the first interview I have with them is what's the geopolitical situation with Taiwan. These are the challenges, and we need to build the resources for that. We need to build PR. That's why I keep on telling the governments we need to build PR and let the people that are partners, especially in this industry, understand how safe it is, and companies need to know how to react to it. Secondly, we do have a degrading talent pool. This is something that we're very concerned about, and I think the Golden Visa is helping, and the things that we're doing with bringing companies to Taiwan are helping as well. But we have a decreasing, we're ranked 2nd in the IND World Talent Report. Now, we were ranked 16th a couple of years ago, so we are decreasing our ranking in the World Talent Pool. And our English proficiency as well. Obviously not here today, but if you come to Taiwan, I think about 20 years ago, it was in the mid-20s, and now it's up in the 40s. Okay, so that's something we need to do as a country to increase our proficiency in our talent pool. Finally, we have a misaligned government. So I just mentioned that we have government support. Yes, we do in the capital markets and from the Industrial Bureau of Development. Okay, from the all the industry side, but regulatory. So our industry is highly regulated by the Ministry of Health, the Department of Health, these type of industries, and they're very restrictive. So we definitely need to align that kind of system. I think we may talk about our payment system and the one payer policy that we have. It's an amazing policy for healthcare. However, for new drug development and innovative drugs, it's very, very restrictive because it is expensive. And when you have one payer that is taking premiums from employers only, and there's no real secondary insurance market, private insurance market, you do have a lack of innovation within the Department of Health and Regulatory. So these are some of the issues that we're dealing with. Gene cell therapy, we're very conservative, probably in the right way, but you have Russia, you have China being really unrestrictive on gene cell therapy. So they're making huge advancements into that, and we need to find a balance to become competitive and find our competitive advantage in gene cell therapy. And that is where it's going in the future. And so the government needs to really advance their thinking on where they need to be politically in the gene cell therapy space. Okay, well, thank you.
Great, thank you. And Jason.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jason Wang. I'm a Taiwanese American. I've been here for 40 years, 40 plus years. I actually went to the same high school as Bobby. Grew up in Southern Cal. Since I finished residency in 1999, I've been going to Taiwan about 4 times a year, mostly to do research, training. And since 12 years ago, somehow one of my classmates from MIT convinced me to do a startup. And we have our research and manufacturing in Taiwan, but our market is here in the United States. And so every day, actually, at Stanford, I talk to Stanford medical school students, because a lot of them want to do startups, and probably only 1% of them should do startups. That's how hard it is. But because I've been going to Taiwan about 4 times a year, I really get to know sort of the students there, the engineers there, and I know the health system very well because I was helping the government doing healthcare reform in the year 2000. I spent a whole year doing that. And the systems are very, very different. And so this is an academic institution. I do have financial disclosure. I'm a co-founder of Cognito Health. And I want to talk a little bit about the trends in healthcare, actually both in the United States and in Taiwan. So in the United States, my team actually built digital devices to help with patient coordination, patient engagement. We do randomized control trials in cities where we randomize people to get in an app or not get in an app. So we're quite familiar with the digital health space here in the United States, and we do it on multiple cities. What's happening is that as our society evolves, particularly after COVID, there's going to be a lot more virtual visits than physical visits with the doctor's office. In fact, in my own practice, I saw patients 2 sessions this week, and about 10% of our visits are virtual visits, which is talk to the patients because they don't have to find Stanford parking. That's hard. And then you're going to move between different states of care. So for the elderly, people are going to be at home. They're going to be in the hospital. They're going to be in the ED. They're going to be in the clinic, in the nursing home, and maybe skilled nursing facilities and so forth. And then in the process of care, all the way from prevention, early diagnosis to treatment, that's what we're most familiar with in the academic medical center is treatment. But then there's the post-treatment, return to function. That area, there's a lot of opportunities there. So as we think about how healthcare is going to evolve, and for anybody who wants to do a startup, you have to look very carefully at this chart, right? So you have the patient in the center, but that patient is different here in the United States than in Taiwan, for example. So when you try to design a product for patients in different places, they are quite different, as Ted pointed out, like 21 epic economies, and some of them don't care what you're doing. And same thing, in the United States, we have different language, different culture. We space differently, so we live further away from each other, right? And we have different views of the world. So just think about COVID. We could never do contact tracing here in the United States, right? That kind of failed very quickly. It's not the technology, it's the culture. It's the sense that you want to protect your liberty. Okay, and then so when you're doing a healthcare startup, there are different types of data And there's some data for the social determinants of health data. There's some data for billing. There's some clinical data in the hospital and different sites, right? And there are other data that you could integrate from remote patient monitoring, these digital health data. So if you look at the totality of data, this is a chart, nice chart from JAMA. There's structural data and there's unstructured data. Structured data is what we are very used to query, but the unstructured data is like, what patients say. And now I think we have more capability to deal with it with large language models, natural language processing, and so forth. But the data come from everywhere. So everybody's wearing like a Apple Watch or some sort of a device. And then it gives you an alert, tells you how many steps, and that becomes an important data, but why it ran out of battery is not recording anything, right? So with digital devices, you have to think about how to deploy it cheaply and also how to take care of the battery issue and how to make sure the data is integrated so that you don't have a large missing piece of data. And so a lot of devices are now collecting data at your home, right? Either it's Amazon product or they're looking at your movement and so forth. And so in the future, and we're not very far from it actually, that a lot of the things that are currently being done in the hospital are going to be done at home. Okay, there's going to be enough monitoring devices to take care of people at home. So the hospital will become an emergency room and a surgical suite, okay, and maybe ICU after the surgery. And so a lot of the care is going to be enabled at home. Now, when I say this, I'm saying this probably in the United States. If you go to a Taiwanese home, it's tiny. You're not going to put all that equipment in there. All right, we tried, okay? So even designing for the home is very different, right? So, you might put it in local schools, a kiosk of some sort, but you're not going to put it in people's home. So now generative AI, ChatGPT is coming. And so every day I'm in clinic with my students, and they're very impressionable. So I ask them, where they're coming from. And this week, a new student told me he did like, 2 years of rational drug design. The PI was on the way to win a Nobel Prize with the algorithm of rational drug design. And then ChatGPT came and just kind of beat it. Just like in terms of AI, like just the algorithms are so much better. Right, so in the future, drug design is going to be very different, and this is how we saw the patient. Okay, every time I see a patient now, so the student go and get a history, okay, and the patient come with the chief complaint of what they're there for, and then so when they go in there, I quickly look up to date. All right, that's a synthesized data set of evidence-based data set that, the most up-to-date information about how to take care of the patient. Then when they came back and talked to me, we went through what we call the differential diagnosis. Okay, now in the past, this is all I did. They came back, I talked to them, because I already read up-to-date. I'm more up-to-date than them, unless they already read up-to-date also, which is possible. Now, we look up ChatGPT. After that, it takes 1 minute to see if we missed anything. Okay. Now, with ChatGPT, you can actually type in the chief complaint and the symptoms and then generate a list of things that could be. Then you could refine it. You could say, what if the patient has this? And it goes down. So I'm trying to figure out how good ChatGPT is, right? Because like in the future, it's going to be a tool for us. Because I cannot be beaten by the 4th-year medical student. Now, if I don't use ChatGPT, I might. Right? So I have to like empower myself with every capability possible, right? And I have the experience. I could take a look at the rash that they haven't seen before. So there's a chasm in healthcare right now where we're not exactly sure how to use the new technology, but the computational power, according to Jensen Huang, is not going to be 1 trillion parameters you could put in there. It's not going to be very long before we figure out how to do it. And the way, this is a slide from my colleague, Nigam Shah. Once we create the model, we have to know how to use it. We have to create policies around it. And Stanford is at the forefront of doing a lot of these testing with our students and make sure that it's ethical as well, okay? So this is a special pitch to Ted. Maybe he should move some of the clinical trials to Stanford. It's a shorter distance for you from MIT, all right? I certainly saw the light. So the challenge in integrating healthcare data, when people do design thinking, we're really good at design thinking, okay? But design thinking will always hit a wall like this with all the regulatory, all the things that people don't want to do. Okay, how many times did your mother tell you to clean the room and you don't want to do it? Okay, imagine multiply that 100, to the 100th power with healthcare. Nobody wants to change how they do things. Okay, so if you think you're going to have an innovation, you're going to make everybody change their behavior, it's not going to happen, okay? Now, we did see some positive examples of how people integrated data in some health systems that we're working with right now. They have a dashboard on every patient. So what they say is, well, who caused the top 5% in our health system? Then they could track every single patient and track when they were in the emergency room and track their chronic disease, and then they send special teams to take care of those high utilizers, if you will. And they even walk their dogs. Okay, they deliver the diabetic meals, they walk their dogs, and I'm thinking, why are you walking their dogs? And they say, because depression is a major issue, and puppies are a major companion for some of these people. You don't want them to be lonely. So when they go to the doctor, we will take care of their dogs, okay? So this is the extent of what's happening. Now, I also have been working with the government. Last year, we trained 5 people from the Ministry of Health and Welfare here because they were trying to look at how to integrate their system. And I know that Ted also has been doing a lot of work with this. So what Taiwan is trying to do right now is to integrate the government agencies with different data requirements, and so that they create a common platform under the National Health Insurance Platform. And then they engage also with different partners that in the process, including different vendors that develop some of these systems. And then they try to create sort of a platform as a service, and then software as a service, and they try to put some regulatory guidelines. So this morning I just got consulted again on, there's all these new technology with immunotherapy, with targeted therapy. How do we pay for this? And how do we have people go through a vetting process for this? So vetting process is actually very important with technology. So you need a platform so you can vet fast, not vet slowly, because patients need the drugs. That's new. So now they're creating this process. So what's happening is that if you're trying to do a startup, okay, having the idea is just the bottom, the design and the prototyping and about the idea. But user experience, the IPs, the supply chains, the clinical trials, the systems integration, the policies and regulatory in each one of your markets, deployment, marketing and sales force deployment, and at the end, once you start have customers, that's when the trouble comes, because people could now sue you, right? So you have to make sure. So this is what happened to our startup right now. It's not that people are suing us. It's we finally have a lot of orders, hundreds of millions of orders. We can't make them fast enough, but then once it's deployed, it's all liability. So this is actually very briefly about a startup. It's called Cognito Systems, Cognito Health. We prevent bed falls and pressure ulcers in the elderly, okay? And the way we do that is that we could turn a bed, any bed, into a smart bed. And with sensor pressures, we know the intention of leaving bed. We also know where the pressure ulcers are. So for people who cannot move, we worry about pressure ulcers. For people who can move, we worry about bed falls. And we also have respiration monitoring. This is how we did it in Taiwan, the design process. So we actually talked to a lot of people taking care of the elderly. And then we try to do some design thinking that we do here at Stanford with our team in Taiwan. And then we basically, after we figure out what products we might need and the workflows, we then start making it, okay? and we start making it. We then, build, we have sewing machines in our lab, and we start making the stuff, okay? And then we deploy it. So this is what the system looks like. You could make any bed with a pad you put on top of it, doesn't even touch the patient's body because you got a bed sheet on top of that. And you can monitor 40 beds at a time. We put it in the hospitals, both in the US and Taiwan, and we could monitor 40 beds at a time, different type of data. And this is academic work because we published it, right? So actually count for my promotion, except I have to declare conflict of interest. So I talked to the journal editor, right? I say, is that okay to put myself as an author in there? He goes, you have to put yourself as an author if you contribute the work. You just have to declare conflict of interest. It's like when Merck developed a drug, they have their scientists in there. They have to put their names on there because not just the people who do in a clinical trial, but people who are responsible for the product and the trial. So this is one way to straddle academic medicine and entrepreneurship, and I've given this talk to my Stanford students. I've given this talk to almost all the medical students in Taiwan who wants to do this. But I want to leave an impression of how hard this is. It's 12 years. Bobby, yours is really short. 2008? Anyway, so that's it. We could do the panel. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, many thanks to each of you. So I thought I'd throw out a few questions for our panel to reflect on, and you all think about some questions to ask. We'll turn to those before lunch. So first, some of you already brought up some of the challenges, but I wanted to ask in each of your distinct but related ways, what are the challenges and opportunity when innovating for regional and global markets in medical technology and biotechnology with Taiwan as home base and incubator? Any further thoughts on that?
Okay. Basically, I think health industry or medical industry actually is an evidence-based. So before COVID-19, we are actually doing, for example, telemedicine in many different countries like Canada or Nordic area, because at that time we believe that because Taiwan is too convenient, and there are too many hospitals. We don't really need telemedicine. But when there is pandemics, and separation became the distance, so people would have to adapt telemedicine. So we move all our efforts back to Taiwan, and we create the evidence, and then we use that as a good examples, and we started to go to a global market based on that. And this is one thing. The other thing is that most Taiwanese industry, like IT industry, actually they are all global companies. They tend to understand how to deal with global market, global partners. And every partners, actually, they have different kind of characteristics, just like people. For example, we are doing a huge amount of laptop design with Apple. Apple is different from Dell, and Dell is totally different from HP. So you have to understand, you have to create a very unique way to deal with different companies, global companies, and also understand how to secure. You need to understand their culture and also need to secure their the intellectual properties on your own. I think trust is also, in addition to the technology we can offer, is also a very important element or core competency of Taiwan's the industry. And based on the trust that we build with all the global economies, we then understand how to further bring the innovations through collaborations, then to go to the global market. And that's exactly the way we used to establish the IT industry. But currently, because for the future, the digital health, the IT and the medical, will merge together and to come up with the new solutions. So actually, we follow the same discipline, doing things like that. And so On the one hand, we have some constraints because Taiwan is a small island. But right now, because of internet and other, technologies, we have more opportunities to bring the innovations over the internet and to other, other countries. But still, we all need new policies, because in the new economy, digital enable health economies, data will be the future, the new fuel. And also, cloud computing is a new combustion engine. And so that with these two, you can come up with AI. And so, but if you want to put, just like, Jason just mentions, if you want to aggregate all the data together, within Taiwan, there are so many efforts. If you are talking about, data governance across the border, that will be another thing. And building financial is another thing. And this is the reason why we can only move step by step. We cannot, that once you build a laptop, you ship to global market. No, you can only move from, the one partner to another partners. And so that's a way we try to grow. But that's also, we are pushing the policymakers to enable a new policy, to enable a new possibilities for the future together. Yeah.
Great.
I think I'll mention real quick, just focus on biotech development and not medtech, biotech. But I do agree with your structure. It is very complicated, especially regulatory, right? So that's the thing. When you need to think globally, it's not make one laptop you can sell to over a couple hundred countries. It is every single country has their own regulatory body, which takes anywhere from 2 to 4 years to register the drug. Now, the device is also long as well. The drug is very long. So, and not just the length, but to understand what each regulatory body will need and which target areas you're focusing on. That's where Taiwan really needs to get exposed to what's happening globally. Okay, so when you look at these startups, they spend zero money and zero headcount for regulatory. When you look at other startups in the U.S., there's always regulatory. We have 60 regulatory people in our company, right? That's all their whole job is to learn how to register the drugs across and what changes are. They're changing every month on their regulations. You need to be very, very aware, even on labeling, right? So these are some of the small details, but it is public health we're dealing with. I think that's one. Number two, I think just a little focus on innovation. Taiwan's opportunity is that we're very known for our scientists. So we're very strong, but we're very strong in a certain way that we can scale, and that's the great, and we're very efficient. But I think our scientists on the innovation side, that's where we need to improve. And not on the academia side. There's actually some innovation going to academia, but then what about the innovation as building companies? And that's why I think Stanford and a lot of universities do really well is 产学. It's the building of companies within universities, or MIT does it well. Some other institutions do it well. Berkeley doesn't do it well, by the way, and that's why we lose a lot of professors at Stanford. But I think that's what the Taiwan needs to do, is to understand we need to really move academia into commercialization, and that transformation is going to take time, but that needs to get done on our side.
My suggestion is different for Quanta than for startup companies. So for Quanta, I think you should go acquire companies, M&As, because it's much harder to build a channel. For startups, you don't have the cash to acquire companies, so you have to go develop the channel, and you have to spend the time. That's why and for Taiwanese companies, if you want international presence, like in Western markets, right now we're in the UK and we're in the US, okay, but you have to build that trust, and you have to recruit local talent to access the channel, and the closer you are to the channel, the higher the margin, right? If you're really far away from the channel, you don't own the business. You're making products for other people. So for some folks, like people like Bobby and I, we came when we were like teenagers. Yeah.
Two.
You too? No, I was a teenager. Okay. So like you could go across cultures, and that's a real opportunity to develop the channel. But Taiwan is great in CDMO, in manufacturing, and there should be more talent, like you said, to access the channel. But Quanta should go acquire companies.
Yes, agreed.
Great, great. One more thing, and we will collect a lot of questions, but you to think about affordable and equitable access, because it's also a health policy panel. So inviting some questions. Anyone, would you like to please?
Well, from a personal experience, I built up my company in Silicon Valley for 20 years, and I had to take my company public and beg money from Wall Street, and our presentation is called Roadshow. Today, I feel these guys are making very impressive roadshow. Fantastic, thank you. 2 more. My question is to Dr. Chen regarding to strategic focus. I was on the board of Intel for 11 years. I talked to Maurice Jan in 1995, and TSMC was way, way behind Intel. But it's amazingly, last 20 years, they surpassed Intel, become world's #1 semiconductor manufacturers. We cannot live without them. All Apple's chips, they produce 60% of the advanced semiconductor in the world. And I think Taiwan's story was the last 30 years, their economy was so-so. But suddenly, something happened. And like in TSMC's case, under leadership of Maurice Chan, my observation is they really perform fantastically, like follow Michael Porter's strategic focus. And your company is similar. You focus on your strength, and you don't do other things. And then you become #1 on the best you can do. So my question is, on the next phase of growth, the AI area, I mean, look at what happened to NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, and he talked about maybe the next phase, the computing power may grow 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times. It's a great opportunity, very big. Now, what's your company and also Taiwan in general? How do you focus on your capability, strengths to capture that next phase of growth in AI from your company standpoint, from Taiwan's industry, and particularly Taiwan now has such a unique position in semiconductor production and also information technology. So what's the next for you to continue to gain that unmatched competitive advantages?
I think there are a couple of things, this is really a very tough question. Basically, my boss asks me every day. And so back in year 2000, we had no idea about what's next, about laptop. We were already the laptop king at the time. Every 1 out of 5 is made by Quanta. So we have no ideas. So in year 2000, we started to understand, try to understand what's going on in the research area in MIT, Stanford, and also Berkeley as well. And we try to learn from them because, as a company at the time, we are doing the product now. And also, the research area, they are doing something for days after tomorrow. So we understand there's something over there, but we are here. So that's the reason why in year 2000, we established Quanta Research Institute. We try to, connect now to days after today, 4 days after tomorrow. We try to do something next because we have to do something as well, just to understand what's going on, for the future. And so basically, it's very important for us to understand the trend and also paradigm shifts before it happens, and to understand our role in the new paradigms, and also our role now, and try to integrate or find partners as many as possible. And that's Quanta's way. And that's the reason why we always establish a vision. We always try to understand our role in the new vision, and also try to integrate or find partners from now to the futures. And so that's the reason why we are lucky to move from laptop to cloud, big data, and also AI computing. And that's the role as a computer maker. We maintain the world #1 because even Intel, AMD, and also NVIDIA, only few people understand that we actually Quanta built the first ever GPU server, and for NVIDIA. And at the time, GPU supposed to be a graphic card. Nobody think about how to use GPU to do AI or neural network, artificial neural networks for other things. So maintain a momentum of doing something new out of box is very important to probe the future. And then you will collect more information to understand what to go based on that. So we are just try to survive from different kind of paradigm shifts, and prepare ahead for the next wave. And of course, deep learning. I mean, in year 2016, people are talking about AlphaGo, but nobody talking about AlphaGo now. And people focus more on ChatGPT, but 1 week ago they are Meta 3, and claim that they are powerful than the ChatGPT, and there will be more to come from Google and others. So there will be more and more generative AI models, which traditionally they all need a more powerful, the AI server, optimized for large models, not just language model, but also large multimodal models to process. So that's the inline innovations that we are doing, because that are bread and butters. But on the other hand, we try to, find more creative, the models that can enter different kind of vertical application domains, like medical, the drug finding, pharmaceuticals. They all need the different kinds of large models to make it happen. So we are also doing some research in that directions, and try to find a good way to do more innovation out of integration of 2 or 3 core competencies to match the need of the future. But we are still looking, we are still trying. Actually, we're trying every day. And we don't know, which would be the right path to go for the futures. But I think within 5 years, I think generative AI will be more and more important for the futures. If you remember that in February, that OpenAI announced Sora. Sora stands for the sky, and according to Japanese, it stands for sky. They try to do a war simulator, and only the sky is the limit of it. And I think it's coming. And of course, right now, ChatGPT and other large language model, they are facing hallucinations in some very, very serious applications, but people are trying to solve it. I think I speak to Dong. I think we can speak more, during lunch.
Practical side, for example, the talent development, software, and also something like power consumption. I
Yeah,
heard
you are totally
the
right.
big service center, they require a nuclear power plant. I heard Amazon is buying one nuclear power plant right now. What Taiwan is going to do?
I think in the future, my observation is that nuclear fusion will have large improvements, not nuclear fission, nuclear fusion. And I think people are trying to, develop new technology, energy source. Another thing is that, you are totally right that, the currently, power consumptions related to a neural net model is way too high comparing with human being. We all need a cup of coffee to do chessing. However, it might require a huge amount of power to power up the servers to do chessing with you, right?
So we're going to have a lightning round now, just the last few remaining minutes. So I particularly invite any students in the audience to join in. We're going to be talking very briefly about affordability of all our technologies.
I'm sorry about
No, it's a wonderful conversation. We can continue over lunch. Any students in the audience that want to ask a question of our panel? Be brave. No? Never known Stanford students to be shy. Other students from recent? Okay, anybody other last? I know there was a question over here. We'll take a couple of lightning rounds. So maybe one over here. And Lisa? Or, yeah. So here first. Okay, and just quick, because we're going to have lunch. Yeah.
Hi, thanks. I'm Tom Gold. I'm also from the unnamed public municipal university across the bay, and I want to I don't dare represent that university, but I want to congratulate Stanford and APARC for setting up this Taiwan program. My question is for Bobby, obviously. And I admit I have, for full disclosure, I have a personal interest in this. And your answer is you talked about you're hiring people from all over the world. And in the U.S. at the same time, reading in the paper, biotech companies seem to be laying off huge numbers of people all the time. Now, I don't know what sort of talent they're laying off. Does this provide a potential talent pool for you? And would all these jobs be in Taiwan or remote? Or how do you visualize this?
1 minute. One question here.
Oh, yes. So hi, I'm Julie Shea, class of '98 in human biology, and president of Stanford Club of Taiwan from 2020 to 2023. And I have a question for Dr. Jason Wang. So when you hear about all these advances in AI and ChatGPT, are you nervous about your job security?
No.
Okay, please, go ahead.
I have an exit strategy. I already have an exit strategy.
The company, right? I'll answer real quick. Yes, I think global talent is going to go global, right? So we do have a big program now where we're acquiring talent or trying to get talent to come to Taiwan, and vice versa. So vice versa. But you need facilities and you need that collaboration, which we've done through M&A. So going back to your discussion about M&A, we acquire companies and their talent and their technologies, bring it back to Taiwan, start that exchange. But yes, and we strategically choose an industry of growth, which is CDMO, and some of the industry that we're in to hire that talent from. But yes, I think that's an area for us as well.
Last word?
So I want to answer your question about disparities, right? So when we think about technology, so everybody now has a mobile phone, okay? Even in the United States, everybody has a mobile phone, okay? When I went to Asia, even Southeast Asia, Vietnam, I just came back from Indonesia, everybody has a cell phone. So that is the access with the doctors, because you could reach them. You could now reach people that were hard to reach before, okay? Now, when we think about our own technology with a company, for example, right now it's medical grade in the hospital and nursing homes. We're going to make it into every home so that every home could become a smart home and people are going to sleep on the bed for at least 8 hours a day. We're going to have all the data come in about their activity. And we could actually detect subclinical disease before they even know it. Like, for example, if people are breathing a little faster than before, or their heart rate is a little bit faster than before, doctors wouldn't know, but we would know. It's called population health sciences and population health management. So we could then do proactive prevention, precision medicine, individualized precision medicine at every home. So that is the future.
Well, oh yeah.
You know, can I have 1 minute on you, because you keep talking about affordable healthcare. So I have to promote Taiwan in this way. Taiwan has the most amazing healthcare system that I think some of you are benefactors of. It is a monopolistic single payer model. It works really well. It covers the 99% of the population. It only spends about 6.5% of GDP. They can do so because we're one payer, right? So we suppress a lot of the pricing of the medical and also some of the services. So it is now we are running into an issue because we are the fastest growing aging population in OECD countries. So we are going to 30% of the population is going to be over, 20% of the population is going to be over 65 in 2 years. 30% of the population is going to be over 65 in 2039. Now, relative to other OECD countries, is predicted to be 2,100. So we're growing very fast, and this is where we're going to have a problem with this model. But it's an amazing model. Medical tourism is very hot. A lot of people are flying to Taiwan to get their teeth repaired and everything, especially with the Asian population. So it's an industry, in this interesting trend to review and follow in the next couple of years for Taiwan and Taiwan's healthcare.
Wonderful. Well, thank you all so much. Thank you.